Hello, welcome. Welcome to Harvesting Seasonal Vitality in Our Physical Selves. My name is Grace. I am a minister in training at Circle Sanctuary. And I have no special qualifications to teach fitness, so I want to start with a disclaimer. If you aren't used to doing physical exercise or have some injuries, please take care of yourself first. Definitely don't do anything that you haven't discussed with a certified personal trainer and a doctor. But today should be very well self-paced, so just honor your body for that. So, welcome. Today I really want to focus on vitality. So, as a noun, it's the state of being strong and active, right? It's energy. But it's also the power that gives continuance of life. It's present in all living things. You know, when we think of continuance of life, we think of seeds, young things. And when we think of, or at least for me, when I think of vitality, I think of, like a virile, young adult type of feeling. But, it's not limited to, one phase of life or the other. It's the vitality of energy even. Age has nothing to do with it. In this season especially, we can really take the vitality of the season. So the heat, the humidity, the abundant overgrowth of greenery everywhere. It's lush, it's full of life. Even the storms when they come through. If you're in the Midwest like I am, it storms at least once a week. And the thunderstorms are an amazing, powerful reminder of nature's vitality, absolutely. And it's the heat of summer too, that seems to slow everything down while making it more vibrant, right? So when we talk today about stoking our inner fires and kind of gathering that vitality of the season and bringing it into our physical bodies, it's going to feel different for everyone. So that's mental and physical. It's not just, physical ability, I don't exercise, or I have an injury. It's mental fortitude as well, and it's been a hard year. So if you feel like you barely crawled into this workshop today, you're still amazing for showing up. If you're watching it on the recording, hey, you made it. And, if you just ran a marathon this morning and you're using this as a cool down, you are also amazing and killing it for all the rest of us. For those of us that perhaps just haven't been feeling very vital this year, the state of the world being what it is, maybe it's time to just try and wake that inner fire up. I know that I have definitely not been feeling very vital, and I think it's important to maybe jumpstart that if we can. Use this time of year to really dig in and light that fire, if you will, if it was doused or banked. But the point is that each of us is bringing something different today. So I want you to check in with yourself in this next 10 minutes as we do some breath and some mindfulness. Perhaps the heat you're looking for is a low heat. Maybe it browns butter. Maybe you're looking for a 10-foot bonfire or an in-ground pig roast. Whatever it is you're looking for, let's take this next few minutes to check in on that. Where are you at today? How are you arriving? So we'll start with some breath, just to get present, to come together. Close your eyes or lower your gaze softly if that feels better. Just take a few breaths, pulling your attention into the space and into this moment. If you have a breath practice that works best for you to get grounded and centered, to check in with your body, please feel free to do that. When I check in with my body, I start by slowing my breathing, deepening it consciously. And As I feel my chest and back body expand, I follow the breath in and out. And I become aware of the different systems in my body moving, working. So I check in with my face as my nose draws in the air. And I tense between my eyes as my jaw clenched, over with my tongue to the bottom of my mouth. And moving attention down to my neck and throat as the air passes through. Perhaps I need to stretch it, look down and around. Do I feel clogged? Perhaps I haven't been honoring my own voice lately. Just noticing. And as you follow the breath down into your chest, your shoulders are expanding, your chest is expanding. How do your arms feel, your fingers? Notice, were they clenched? Were they dangling? Not trying to change, just seeing how you've arrived today. Following your breath, continuing down as your belly expands. Checking in with your hips, your thighs, your knees, all the way down. Your attention draws to your feet. Uncurl your toes. Now in that scan, did anything seem painful or tight? Bring some attention there and honor it. And now mentally, bring your attention into the space. Draw it away from everything that distracts you. Draw it away from work and kids and frustrations and joys. Even, you've given yourself this time. Letting go of anxieties, of fears. It will be there at the door if you want to pick it back up when we're done. Honor yourself for however you showed up today. If you are flat on your back, if you are sitting comfortably, if whatever your if is, be proud of yourself for showing up. Sometimes that's the hardest part. And think about your inner fire. What makes you feel the most alive and full of energy? It isn't always physical activity, it isn't always exercise. For some people, it's the joy you find in creating art. It's your connection with other people. Whatever it may be for you, feel into that, because that's the energy we want to take today. We're going to set an intention for the next 50 minutes or so. Thinking about what makes us feel the most vital, the most full of energy, and thinking about what this season has meant to you, does mean to you. Pulling all that in together, perhaps your intention is just to rekindle a little spark that you feel has been lost over the last few months. Or perhaps you have something in mind to dedicate this vitality to raising this energy and putting it towards a purpose. If you've opened your eyes, softly close them and say your intention to yourself out loud or quietly. And an extra intention if you so choose, but I invite you to have an intention of self-honoring and self-love. Accept how you've arrived. Love what you can do. It's more than enough. So for our next kind of section, we'll be working on waking the body up. So gentle stretches and movements. You can do this entire next part sitting, or even part of it you can be laying prone on the ground if you prefer. I'm going to go ahead and stand, so I'm going to back up so you can see me. But again, just a reminder, don't do anything that hurts. This is meant for everyone, so I will be giving as many modifications as I can along the way. So let's go ahead and start waking our bodies up. Perfect. So first we're going to start with a full body stretch to the full length of your fingertips, maybe raising on your toes if you're standing. Feel into your body with this. Maybe you want to stretch your side body. Taking care not to crunch your bent side if you do. Lengthen up and then lean. Is there anything in your body that needs to be stretched? Perhaps a good lower back stretch. Maybe you hinge all the way over, get some hamstring stretches. Gently wake your body up. If you're like me, you sit most of the day. You sit for work, you sit for pleasure. I can't be the only one who has watched a lot of media on the TV over quarantine. When you feel like your body's just starting to wake up, little tingles everywhere, we'll move into something a little more active. So we'll do just some arm raises. You can raise them to the sides, or you can raise them to the front. You can raise them to shoulder height, or all the way up. One of these is going to feel a little bit better if you're having some shoulder tightness, but just a smooth motion up and down, with the full range of motion that your body enjoys. See if you can keep a steady pace, a little bit faster than we were stretching, and bring some energy into your arms. So we're not waving them, we're not being trees right now. Strong with energy coming out your fingertips, reaching and down, and then reaching towards the ground. Feeling like you're trying to reach out of your shoulder sockets even with your arms. Depending on your fitness level, you might already be feeling this in your shoulders. I know I am. If you're not, feel free to keep going. But as you start to feel this warmth, it's not a pain. And if it is, do something different. But it is warming your body up. So before our shoulders get too tired, we're going to turn it into arm circles. This can also be done sitting or standing. Start with little circles, do big circles if that feels good. Do the other direction. Now at any point, if you're just not feeling it, if your body is done, shake it out, rest. Nobody's judging. But then come back into it. Let the fire have a minute and then feed it some more. Do alternating if that's better. We want to make sure we're having fun while we wake our bodies up. And this is really good if you want to do arm circles in front of you with one arm, behind you with another. Really play with what this feels like. You want to make sure that you feel fully awake. Oh, a little bit of crack in the spine there for me. So when you feel like your upper body is starting to wake up, maybe give some twists in there, just some trunk twists. So a key to this, to avoid hurting your lower back, tighten your belly. Don't suck it in, just tighten it, like as if you were gonna sit up in a sit-up, right? Just make sure that everything is tight, that your pelvis is pulled in, but strengthening the core muscles will protect your joints and protect your bones. So twisting, waking up your center, waking up your core. These are some of the strongest muscles in our bodies. We just don't really think about it. And then let's try waking up our hips. So try to stand for this if you can. If you can't, you can go to the edge of your chair and then do hip circles off of your seat, or in whatever way feels good to you. But I want to make sure we're waking up the hips as well. So maybe some side-to-side motions, maybe some rolls. And this can look different depending on your preference. You can roll a lot through the knees. You can more like roll your body with your legs straight as if it's more of a pivot. What feels good? Left to right, right to left. You can also do one hip at a time. So you're sort of like rolling your hip joint. If you've done dance classes, you can do any sort of hip motion that feels good. Just waking up the body, a gentle good morning, good afternoon. I hope you had a good nap. But what feels good? And then moving down, we're gonna wake up our knees and our ankles. These are probably two joints that are prone to injury for a lot of people. Put a lot of strain on our knees. We're not very kind to them. So you can do what I'm doing and just twist a little bit. A key about knees, when you squat, when you bend, when they're bent at all, they should never extend past your toes, unless you have incredibly strong legs. That will ensure that you aren't overextending at all. You can even roll your foot. That'll wake up your ankle. Just give your knee a little bit of movement. Always make sure you do both sides. I always feel so unfinished if I do left but not right. So big toe to little toe to big toe. And the other side as well. By now you should feel a little heat. Maybe a little tiny drop of glistening sweat. Maybe not yet. You definitely will in the next section. But we're just trying to make sure that our bodies are awake and ready. And that it's ready to participate. If your body has already tapped out, you should honor that. All right, everybody feeling pretty good? So in the next section, we're gonna spend about 10 minutes standing, 10 minutes balancing, which you can do in a stand or a sit, and then 10 minutes on the floor. So we'll talk about that when we get there, but you don't need a whole lot of room. We're not gonna be doing any kind of cardio or anything like that. So for standing, I wanna start with squats because we just kind of woke up our lower body. So you can hold a chair or a wall to help your balance, and you can go as deep or as high as you want. But the point is not to get a ton of repetitions in. Nobody's counting you. Nobody cares if you do 5 or 10 or 100. But we want to try to engage all of our muscles. So I'm going to turn to the side. Just making sure that your pelvis is tucked, your core is engaged. It's very important to protect your back. And when you squat, like I said, your knees should never go over your toes. This is my knees over my toes. This is my knees not over my toes. So when you squat, you want to squat like you're sitting in a chair. Chest up, looking up as high as you can. So you can be like this, but it is going to be a little harder if you're as upright as you possibly can be. And when you squat down, as low as is comfortable for you, and I can't maintain this for very long, but you're going to feel the heat build. You'll feel it build kind of in your upper thigh. When you push up, push through your heel. Really feel kind of your back hamstring and your glute engage. So that allows you to work the front body and the back body. Now I'm just doing a normal chair squat with my feet shoulder width apart, or hip width apart. And when you squat, you should be able to lift your toes, just slightly. Hold it for however long feels good, till you feel that heat really growing. You're competing against nobody but yourself. And that friends, that's almost harder, right? So you can do squats in other ways too. You can spread your legs wide, take your feet at like 45s, and you can be up on your toes, or you can be flat-footed, but a plie squat. So your knees will go out following your toes, but they never go over the toes. And if you're really feeling it, you want a good workout, go grab something heavy. If you don't have weights at home, grab a small child, a small dog, a struggling cat, but give yourself some weight right here at the center of your body. And then just do weighted goblet. We call them goblet squats. So hopefully you're starting to feel this. Heat in the front, heat in the back. Stop to rest at any point. We're going for heat, but not necessarily a brush fire over here. Oh, well that friends, that was plenty, don't you think? So we've really got like a lot of heat going on down here. So let's get some heat back up in here. We're gonna do some arm holds. So if you're here for like bonfire heat, continue to do your squats while you're doing it. Make it a lot challenging. However, for those of us who aren't here for a bonfire, you can hold your arms out straight to the sides, out front, or straight up. This seems very simple, doesn't it? Who can't hold their arms up? But as we stand here together, you're gonna start to feel it. Now if your arms are up, try to remember to relax your shoulders. Don't have them up here. Relax them down on your back, and then hold your arms out straight at shoulder height. Or if they're going straight up, still feeling like your scapula is sitting back on your back and down on your back rather. Maybe you have little hand weights. Maybe you have a bottle of meat in each hand. Really just starting to feel a little bit of fire, just a tiny bit. Are we doing the YMCA? Because if you do that enough, that also is going to be very heat intensive. You can even hold them like this if this is a little bit, if that was too much, the weight of your whole arm on your shoulder, you can hold them elbows bent so that it's slightly less pressure. Oh, I'm starting to feel it. Are you guys starting to feel it? Okay. So we're going to move into balancing. Now, if you do any sort of yoga, some of this is going to be very familiar to you. So things like trees, hamstrings, stretches, dancer pose. We're going to kind of just run the gamut. We're going to do kind of a little bit of everything. So first, go ahead and ground into your feet really well. So your feet should be stacked. Hips above ankles, shoulders above hips. Tuck your tailbone, make sure that your core is very well engaged. And lean into your left foot, or your right, whatever you prefer, but lean into one side. Feel all four corners of your foot. Both sides of the ball of your foot, both sides of the heel of your foot. And then just slowly lift your other leg. You can keep a toe on the ground. You can kickstand your foot against your leg. This may be where you stop. This is your tree today. Want to make it more challenging? Close your eyes. Which is very challenging. If you want a little bit more, you can raise your foot to your calf. If you want more than that, you can gently push it into your inner thigh. Notice my knees down here. I'm still protecting my knees by not putting my foot pressure on it. This is going to be a little bit of a hip opener as well. So if your flexibility here is just feeling really tight today, skip it. Go down to your calf. And then we have, so you're really grounding in, feeling it come up through that foot. If you're feeling wobbly in whichever tree you've decided to take, remember, tighten your core. Don't lock your knee. Have a slight micro bend. Feeling the burn yet? Feeling a little bit of fire? We're going to make it a little more challenging. You can have your arms at your hips, down in front of you, or they can be in any other position. Those who like to do yoga may have their arms up and wide. Your arms are your choice. How are you growing your branches today? You're fully grounded in the earth right now. This is a very earthy season. But we're starting to move into the time of the year that's very much about introspection in our heads. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. How do you reach up to the sky? How do you reach into that conscious area? Whatever works for you. If you wobble, if you come out of it, this is the time to practice for self-forgiveness. That's self-care and self-honoring that we talked about. Just let it go. Come back in. It's called a practice for a reason, right? And if you want a little bit more, this isn't about fire now. This is more just about self-trust. You can look up, which is harder than looking down, or you can close your eyes, which is harder than all of it. We're not going anywhere. Nothing changed. But as soon as I close my eyes, I start to wobble. So, self-trust. Feel free to come out of it at any point, shake it out. Oh, definitely shake out your standing leg. Feeling the fire on that one. Now, take a minute. How do we feel side to side? Right? The standing leg versus the leg that you were bouncing off of. It feels different to me. I don't know what it feels like in your body, but it's worth noticing side to side as we do these things. You feel the vitality coming back to you, coming into you, rising in you, and just feeling the difference, just seeing what that feels, side to side. So let's do the same thing on the other foot. So once more, really grounding into your standing foot, all four corners of your foot, and then you can toe the ground, kickstand your foot, come up to whatever works for you. And as you're here, remember, tighten your core, tuck your tailbone in. It's not a pelvic thrust, but it is making sure that your lower back is not crunched. Again, crane. You see, as you wobble, allow it to happen. Flow with it. If we're trees, and that wobble is the wind, we're just moving with it. We don't judge the trees for moving in the wind and the storm. We admire them. We admire their beauty as they dance. Now, building fire on this side is going to feel different than the other. Perhaps your fire is built and you are already done. Thank you, Grace. I'm good. Feel free. Drop out of it, stretch a little bit, move in what feels comfortable to your body. You're still building some fire yet? You can try standing up on your tippy toes. That is going to be a significant burn, both in your foot and the rest of your body. Shake it out once you come out and you're ready to move on. Maybe give just like a quick lean over, stretch, hamstrings, lower back. Oh yeah. Okay, now we're gonna do a little bit of a quad stretch. So we all might remember this, even if the last time you did it was middle school. Go ahead and grab the tops of your laces, or where the laces would be if you're not wearing shoes. Grab a wall, a friend, a chair, someone who's not going to move though. Maybe don't grab the dog. But lean, just pull your foot back towards your butt, as far as it'll go, whatever that looks like. But try to keep, again, knees stacked over ankles, hips stacked over knees. Feeling it pull here, right? And then feeling the fire burn on the other standing leg. See, you thought we were just stretching. We are still balancing and we are still building fire. Feels good, right? Once again, paying attention to your shoulders. Have they tightened up? Are you feeling tense and stressed? Lower them down. Shake it out if you need to. Let's go to the other side. Let's see how it feels. Oh, yeah. Feels good. I guess my left side's a little tighter. Something that we don't often talk about is the contraction of muscles, right? So when you're tense, your muscles contract. When you're doing something like this, right, your standing leg is contracted because your muscles are tensed. But that expansion and contraction is so important to the vitality of just the physical body. When your muscles are in a contracted state all the time, you know, it's harder for them to build muscle, it's harder for them to build heat, it's harder for them to function. So something that's really important is focusing on the expansion out of that contraction when you're done. That's why we shake it out. That's why we do massage, we do foam rollers. It's really important. If your muscles are always seized, they don't have any room to move and to grow and to have that vitality in the first place. All right, one last balancing pose. It's gonna be a little bit like what we just did, but when you grab your laces, grab it from the inside arch of your foot. And then as you get settled, put your hand on a wall maybe, or a bookshelf. But you're gonna hinge at your hips. So you are kicking your back leg out and you are literally pushing your foot into the palm of your hand. Pushing it out so that you'll feel a stretch here. You'll feel a stretch on your shoulder as you keep a hold of the inside arch, top lace of your foot, and hinging. Now you may stop here. This may be good enough. It's definitely good enough for me, but I'm gonna try to go the full range just to show it. Dancer pose in yoga is very much knees straight out behind you. And again, if you fall out of it, allowing yourself a moment of grace, if you will, to come back into it. Whoa, that's definitely building fire in a lot of places on this one. Oh, shake it out. Shake it out. Okay. Okay. Other side now, yes? Firmly into your standing foot, feeling your, I guess if you're on your right foot, feeling your right glute, feeling very strong. Kicking back with your opposite leg, grabbing the top laces of your foot from the inside arch. And then maybe this is where you stop. This is enough, my butt's on fire. Or maybe you start to kick your foot into your hand, so pushing your leg out and up to the full range of motion of your knees and hips. Front arm out for balance. Oh, you guys sweating? Because I am sweating. The AC is on and everything. Oh, shake it out, shake it out. Feel free to go back into it if you're still really feeling it. I love balancing poses at any time of the year because it helps to remind me to really ground. Balance only works when you're grounded. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're doing great. Want to check in. How are you feeling? Doing pretty good? Okay. So we've got another couple of sections. Let's get to it. So this is the come down to the floor part. As we're on the floor, you are gonna see couple of different options. But first I want to say, if you have any shoulder, ankle, or shoulder, wrist, or knee issues, start thinking about those now. You know, if your knees, or even not an issue, if your knees just don't like being on the ground like this, go grab a folded blanket or folded towel or a yoga mat, even a small throw pillow, just something to cushion, you know, especially if you have hardwood. I have nice plushy carpet, but we want to make sure that we're not gonna put ourselves in a world of pain as part of this. So go grab something for your knees, and then when we're on all fours, like in a plank or a push-up or something, right? Or tabletop is what they call it in yoga. So you've got your shoulders over your wrists, you've got your hips over your knees. So when you're in this position, make sure your spine is neutral, so not super bent or super arched. Just a nice neutral spine. Now, if this is hard for your wrists, right? They don't like your flexed arm, you can just do it on a fist so that your fists are straight out in front of you. That sometimes helps. You can also do all of this on your forearms instead of up. So that's going to be a little gentler on your shoulders as well. So it's really what feels good to you. The point of this isn't to hurt ourselves or to make ourselves feel defeated. The point of this is to raise your energy and vitality in a way that feels nurturing and loving. And you are the custodian of that. We have to love ourselves. Most days it's really hard, but we can do it. Okay, everybody got your props? Everybody ready? So I'm gonna go ahead and put my hair up so you can see what I'm doing. So first, we're gonna be in tabletop position, and we're going to do a couple of different things here. So again, really taking care of your knees if they don't like this. Another thing is flex your foot. That will sometimes help cushion your knees as opposed to being feet flat on the ground. But that's gonna feel different for everybody. Try it out, see what feels good. All right, so first we're going to ground down into your right knee and your left hand. Right hand forward, and then we're going to kick back with your left leg. Ideally, we're going to be in this sort of bird dog position, but take that slow, right? So you can see where we're going. Maybe right here is good. You want to make sure your weight is almost equally distributed on your right knee and your left arm, and that's where the fire is going to build. It's going to build from left wrist all the way over to right glute. Whatever works for you. I usually really feel this in my glutes. If you want to feel it in your core, if you're looking for like that next step up, do a crunch. Pull your knee into your nose, pull your elbow into your chest, and expand again. So you contract like a Z, and expand. The morning glories on my porch, they are loving this heat. Oh. Come down at any point. I hope y'all brought some water because I forgot mine. So hydrate for me. Feeling the heat yet? No? Yeah? Maybe. So we're going to do that again, but we're going to ground down into the other side. So that's going to be your right arm and your left knee for those of you following along. So maybe this time you only lift your back leg. Maybe that's enough balance. You know, maybe that is enough to build that heat here. A note about the hips, they're gonna wanna open with the foot you have raised. Really try to keep them square to the earth. Do you see kind of the difference there? Let me show you on this side too. So this is me making sure that they are fully square to the floor. And then you see like the tendency is just to raise that hip, just a smidge. So I wanna make sure. And make sure you're breathing as your body contracts to build this heat. The tendency is to stop breathing. That's not gonna work. You definitely wanna keep breathing, keep oxygen flowing. Your muscles are working hard right now. Maybe you contract in, seed, expansion. If at any point you want to shake it out, do a little child's pose, kick your hips back, whatever feels good. Moving, and then coming right back into it. So let's do the opposite side again. So grounding down into left wrist, right knee. We'll do the same side we did the first time. How does it feel now that you've woken your body up pretty significantly, and we already did this side? Does it feel more alive? Does it just feel charred and fatigued because we've already pushed it pretty good? It's gonna feel different for everybody. But the vitality of expanding after that contraction that builds heat. You know, right now, probably feels like we're all in a really contracted place. Ground down into the other side, left knee, right wrist. Maybe the last few months were the contraction we needed, the stay-at-home order that we needed, the, contracting in as the pressure builds, as the heat builds, and then we expand into something bigger, hopefully something better. Building this vitality, seeing it go through the rest of your life. Maybe tomorrow you get up early and go for a walk. Maybe you eat your veggies. Oh, do something nourishing for yourself. You've really committed to this self-care. Let's make it easy for your body, right? Oh, how is that? I'm sweating. I'm sweating in the backs of my knees. I'm sweating down everywhere under my shirt. But it feels pretty good. Okay. So, once you've taken a short rest, come back to hands and knees. So again, if this hurts your wrist, you can have them straight like this into the ground. We're gonna do leg lifts and leg raises. So when I say a leg lift, I mean push your heels straight up in the air and then come back to neutral. Push, hold, come back. When I say a leg lift, I mean straight out like we did before, but then just lifting straight up and down. So both of these are going to start engaging your core again, your back specifically. We want to make very, very sure that we're protecting that, so just be gentle. All right, so let's start with some leg lifts. So balance into your opposite knee, raise. Now drive your heel into the ceiling while still keeping your hips as level as possible, and bring it back to neutral. If you want like extra fire, contract in before driving it up, and hold it at the top. If your muscles are shaking, you're doing it right. You do a little ankle rolls at the top just to make it fun. Really feeling the heat. If you need to do this on your forearms, you can. You are getting the same benefits. Now switching sides. If you can, switch sides without shaking it out. Let's see if you can keep that fire stoked. Oh, goodness. Who's doing this outside? I bet it is just hot. Oh, wow. Feeling your body just fully awake. I know mine is. How is that? If you need a little bit, wiggle your tail, sit back, arch your back. Sometimes that feels really nice. I'm going to go right into leg raises. So kick your legs straight out behind you. It's going to be a little easier because both hands are on the ground this time. And then we're just going to move up and down. Your toe can touch the ground if you like. As high up as is comfortable. And back down. Holding at the top. Slight bend to your elbows here will help that back balance a little better. Down to your forearms if your wrists are just done with you. And hold it for as long as you can. You don't need to bring it down when I bring it down. If you
are really digging on it, if you are just in the zone, you go on. Oh. Who isn't feeling something on fire anymore, right? Switching sides, make sure that you get a good even distribution of heat and vitality here. If you're not sure where to look, you don't need to be looking at me. Try looking about 6 inches in front of your hands. That'll keep your neck in line with your spine. I think our lower bodies are just about done, yeah? Glutes, especially. Thighs, oh yeah. Oh, shake it out. Shake it out. All right. So we're gonna do one last set of exercises. I'm gonna give all of this a break, and we're gonna do some planks and some push-ups. So this can be fully modified. Let me give you a couple of options. For plank, you can be tabletop. Like if this is good, if this is building heat for you and your shoulders and your chest, stay here. You can also do push-ups from here. You're going down and you're pushing your upper body up. That is still a chest workout. Absolutely pushing yourself straight up. Now just remember that shoulders are stacked on wrists. You don't want, we can be wide, or we can, if that's your jam, you can have your hands extra wide, but generally speaking, shoulders are above wrists. Like they're definitely not gonna be out here in front of you, right? Definitely under your body weight. If you want the next level up from here, you can bring your knees out just slightly. So we've got the modified. So it's a half plank. And when we do a push-up, it'll be a half push-up just from here. So the big point in this one is just to make sure your back is straight. So don't arch your back like that. That's not healthy. Keep a really good, nice neutral spine. And then, of course, we have a full plank. So back straight, again, very important. You can do a full push-up here as well. If this hurts your wrists, come down to your forearms. Get that butt down. Okay, so there's some modification options as we get started. So we're gonna do planks first, and we're gonna do 2 rounds of those and see where our time is. So we're gonna do this for time, and you're competing against yourself. We're gonna do 2 rounds, okay? So we're gonna start. Take your plank position, whichever is most comfortable for you. For me, it's on forearms, for sure. We're gonna start and go. So we're just gonna see how far we get. So it's gonna be different to everyone, so I'm gonna count it in. That was 5 seconds. You've now made it to 10 seconds. 15 seconds. Keep breathing. If you are on your feet, push back with your heels. 20 seconds. There's 25. How are you feeling? That's 30. Pushing, building, 35. If you need to drop, that's absolutely fine. Come back. Oh, I missed 40, so we're gonna just do it again at 45. There we go. 50. You still with me? All right, that's 55. I bet there's a bunch of you still going. That's a minute. If you've dropped out, feel free to hop back in. A minute 5. A minute 10. A minute 15. Man, if you are still going, woo. A minute 20. I'm gonna give you 10 more seconds, then everyone's gonna stop. Minute 25. And here is your minute 30. Nicely done. So just keep a consideration on how far you got that time. We're gonna do some push-ups, and then we're gonna do planks again. You'll be more tired the second time around, right? And I realized people are like, no, I want to do it now, or my first one's always going to be better. Sometimes that's true, your first one is better, but sometimes you actually do better the second time around. You know, you got your brain into it, right? You're like, oh, I can do that exercise, I can do that movement. A lot of times for me, it's not physical vitality, it's the mental vitality. Just believing you can do it is just so important. And you've just proven to yourself you can, at whatever time that was for you. But you did it. You can do it. So the second time, if you know that you can do 20, maybe you can do 22. You know, it's the unknown that's really scary. All right, let's do some push-ups just for fun. You can do them the way the Army does now, where you can lay all the way down on your chest, hands tap out, and then come back and push yourself all the way up. That is going to be incredibly hard. I'm not going to do that, but some of you definitely can. I also prefer to do modified push-ups myself. So this we're going to do for repetitions. How many can you do in, let's say, 30 seconds, okay? So I'm going to count you in. Ready, start. All right, you're halfway. Keeping track? I've lost count. But competing against yourself means it's okay if you lose count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How'd you do? Probably better than you thought you would going into this. I usually do that. All right, so round 2. How many can we do in 30 seconds? Shake it out. Be ready. 1, 2, go. I'm sure some of us are just watching. That's okay. Some of us have already built all the vitality we need for our intention. We're almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. How'd you do competing against yourself? You know the best thing about competing against yourself, it doesn't matter which time you did better at, you still get to take home the win. All right, second set of planks, and we're gonna cool down a little bit. We're gonna cement in that intention. Ready? How long can you go this time compared to how long you went last time? Ready, go. Now remember, pushing back through your heels if you're on your toes will help you stay up longer, for sure. And breathing, that is so important. We're at 15 seconds now. We're at 20. We're at 23. 25. They go so fast, I don't really want to count all of them, but we're at 30 seconds. Some of you have already beat your best time. 40 seconds. 45 seconds. I'm really proud of all of you. If you're done, feel free to take a seat, grab some water. That is 55 seconds right now. We're going to cool down a little. About 1:05. It's 1:10. 1:15 now. We're going to give it to 1:35 this time, just to let people who want to beat their last time, and they made it all the way to 1.5 minutes. That is 1:25. 1:30. And that is 1:35. Oh, take a breath, take a drink. Congratulate yourself. Have a seat.
I definitely invite you to stretch after this, but I wanna take a breath together, really cement in that intention. How's your body feel? Are you sweating? Are you sweating everywhere? Do you feel hot? Do you feel awake in areas of your body that you haven't really thought about in a while? I know when I get stressed and anxious, I just leave my body entirely. It's not even there. I'm sure some of you are the same. It's really important to get ourselves back in our bodies. And as you breathe and you're thinking about how you're feeling and how you're doing in this moment, revisit that initial intention you set. We're going to take all of the vitality that you built and we're going to put it in that intention. So bring your hands to your heart or prayer position, whatever feels better for you. Take a deep breath in and breathe into your clasped hands. Focus your attention, feel all of the heat, the sweat, the vitality, the vibrancy that you've built. Breathe it into your clasped hands. Let it build as you breathe, feeling that energy growing. Feel it embodying that intention. Feel it. And if that is an intention that you want to set free to the universe to become fruits of your labors, in this next breath, you're going to expand your arms up overhead and let it out. If it's something you want to keep for yourself, really breathe into your chest and cement that down in your bones. So whatever that is for you on your next breath, inhale and exhale. Thank you very much for joining me today for this workshop. I hope that you feel that you've grown and harvested some seasonal vitality with us today, that you're feeling more connected to your body, that you're embodying your body, which is very hard for some of us to do, and that you've taken the time and the attention that you've needed today. I invite you to stretch, especially if this is very unusual activity for you. Stretch anything that feels good. Go take a hot bath, a hot shower. Doesn't that sound nice? Definitely drink some water. Have a little protein, especially if you worked out pretty hard. Your muscles are gonna want it to rebuild. All right, thank you so much for joining. The circle is open yet unbroken. Merry meet.